What if everything you've been told about creating your reality has been upside down? What if the breakthrough you keep chasing has been standing quietly beside you this whole time, simply waiting for you to stop running? They taught you to push, to outwork everyone, to pour more hours into the dream as if effort alone could bend the universe. And for a while, you believed them. You stretched your days thin. You whispered affirmations, even when they felt empty. You tried to force your mind into a state it wasn't ready to hold, but the results never landed. Or worse, they arrived only to slip away before you could grasp them. So you turned inward with blame. Maybe I'm not aligned enough. Maybe there's more to fix, more to heal, more shadows to confront. Without noticing, your spiritual path slowly transformed into another performance, a polished version of the same old rulebook. If I can just be better, maybe then I'll deserve what I'm asking for. But what if the very pressure to improve has been the signal that blocks everything? In the quantum realm, forcing isn't translated as devotion. It's interpreted as an echo of lack, a quiet message saying I don't have it yet and I must earn it. This is the paradox that quietly derails so many seekers. They wake up just enough to see potential, but not enough to realize that the shift they crave comes from their inner resonance, not their outer hustle. They keep adjusting the world outside while remaining loyal to the inner self who is still waiting. And as long as they inhabit that identity, they stay tethered to timelines of almost and maybe someday. Because in the quantum, effort born from strain is simply resistance wearing a different mask. You're not moving toward your desire. You're wrestling with the version of you that feels far from it, and whatever you wrestle with grows. Look closer. Every feeling, every belief radiates a field around you, a subtle atmosphere shaped by your inner state. Research shows that the heart sends out a measurable signal, a continuous broadcast of who you think you are. Imagine that signal as a tone. Strike the note of "I'm still not there," and the field answers with reflections of that same tone. You don't receive what you hope for. You receive what your energy already embodies. This is the illusion of effort-based manifestation, the belief that the universe needs proof of your readiness. But it doesn't read your grind. It reads your coherence. When your thoughts, feelings, and identity drift in different directions, the field picks up interference, and that distortion creates a delay. It's not that your desire is refusing you. It's that your signal is muddled. Here's the part almost no one says. The more frantic the effort, the louder the vibration of absence becomes. The universe responds not to the words you speak, but to the emotion underneath them. You can repeat "I am abundant" 1,000 times, but if your body is tense with fear or unworthiness, that becomes the true message. That is what returns to you. Trying stems from one assumption: I'm not there yet, and each attempt to push harder reinforces that identity. The field simply mirrors it back. This is why your journey feels like running in place. So much motion with so little shift. But what if that exhaustion isn't a punishment? What if it's a call to tune inward more delicately? Because here's a truth rarely spoken. You can't overpower your energy with action. You can't outrun your own vibration. You can't chase your way into ease. You must synchronize with what you seek. And tuning in is not passive, it's precision. It's the art of letting your signal carry the shape of the reality you want instead of the reality you fear. When you stop reaching for the desire as though it's distant and begin inhabiting the version of you who already holds it, the quantum responds instantly, not because it rewards you, but because you've become compatible with the timeline where it is already real. Neville Goddard wasn't offering poetry when he spoke of feeling the wish fulfilled. He was naming a vibrational truth. Your emotional signature is the request you send into the universe. An effort rooted in separation cancels that request every time. Let's clear a myth. Hard work does not manifest. Alignment does. Aligned action has power, but most people don't act from alignment. They act from fear of what will happen if they stop, and fear is not creation. When effort becomes a way to compensate, it no longer feels like flow. It becomes friction, and the field can sense the tension in every intention you send out. So your mind tries to solve an impossible equation. If I stop pushing, how will anything move? But the real inquiry is softer and more precise. Who is the self that believes pushing is necessary at all? Effort begins long before the body moves. It begins in the identity you slip into. The moment you decide that you must strive, perform, or prove more, you step into the role of someone who isn't yet worthy to receive. That role becomes your signal. And until that version dissolves, the vibration of striving will always interfere with the vibration of receiving. But now that you've noticed the loop, something shifts. The field doesn't respond to who you were 5 minutes ago. It listens to who you are in this breath. So pause, not to gather more force, but to settle into clarity, to release the subtle grip between where you stand and where you believe you should be. What if nothing has ever been missing except your awareness of what's already here? What if your next level isn't something to chase, but something to allow? And what if tuning inward with precision is the very shift that reveals the truth that pushing was never the way? Only an echo from an older version of you who thought effort equaled worthiness. In the chapter ahead, you'll understand the mechanics beneath this shift. Why your frequency is the driver of manifestation, why effort without inner resonance becomes noise, and how to begin signaling the version of you who no longer struggles to receive. We've been trained to believe that results unfold in a straight line. More force equals more progress. Push harder, get farther. Sacrifice now, succeed later. It's a narrative so familiar that few ever question it, but manifestation doesn't follow linear laws. It follows resonance, and in resonance, more pressure often creates more distortion. In this realm, alignment moves faster than effort ever could. Your frequency becomes the mechanism that bends possibilities into form. Let's step deeper. Every living being emits a unique electromagnetic signature. This isn't a metaphor, it's measurable biology. The heart produces a field far more powerful than the brain, and when the heart and mind enter coherence, your entire energetic blueprint shifts. You become steady, unified, clear, and that clarity becomes a signal the quantum responds to. Now contrast this with overexertion. When you push from anxiety or urgency, your nervous system snaps into survival mode. Old circuits of fear reactivate. Stress hormones surge. Your heart rhythm loses its harmony, and your signal becomes erratic. You stop transmitting from possibility and start broadcasting pressure. And pressure is not the vibration of manifestation, it's the vibration of postponement. This is where many people unknowingly sabotage themselves. They visualize, but from a place of needing something to change. They affirm, but from a sense that the desire isn't real yet. They act, but from a belief that they must earn what they want. All of this creates a contradictory signal. In quantum terms, it's decoherence, the unraveling of order within a wave pattern. In spiritual terms, your energy and your intention stop speaking the same language. You ask for clarity while radiating turbulence. You ask for abundance while radiating contraction, and the field mirrors exactly what you emit. Here is the pattern interrupt. Action taken from misalignment is not creation. It's resistance in motion. Action matters, but only when it arises from a frequency that is already aligned. Imagine two people taking the same step. One sends the message, makes the call, shares the offer. The other does the exact same thing, yet only one receives the synchronicities, openings, and yeses. Why? Because only one was resonant with receiving them. Their actions were identical, but the field responded to the energy behind them. This is the missing layer in most goal-setting frameworks. They prioritize what you do, but ignore what you're radiating. They encourage planning, execution, and effort, but rarely ask the core question, what vibration is this action carrying? Let's take this further. In physics, there is a principle called entrainment, the natural synchronization of oscillating systems. When one frequency becomes stronger, the other aligns with it. This isn't just a scientific curiosity, it's a universal rule. When your inner state becomes coherent, your frequency becomes the dominant signal, and reality aligns with you. In simple terms, when you embody the frequency, the field harmonizes with it. You don't chase timelines, you draw them into your orbit. Now let's anchor this in neuroscience. Your thoughts generate electrical impulses. Your emotions create magnetic pull. Together, your thoughts and emotions create your electromagnetic signature. But most people live in contradiction. They tell themselves, I am worthy, yet feel shame. They imagine money flowing to them, yet feel scarcity. That tension produces incoherence, and incoherence brings stagnation. The solution is not more effort, it is integration. Coherence means your mind, emotions, and actions are unified. Your nervous system no longer braces for disappointment. Your body believes what your words declare. You stop trying to convince the universe. You simply reflect the truth already present within. And when that inner alignment solidifies, the outer world reorganizes in response. Let's invert the old paradigm. Many believe external circumstances must shift first before they feel peace, joy, or gratitude. Quantum reality works in the opposite direction. You cultivate peace, joy, and gratitude first, and then your external reality aligns with that inner state. The field doesn't respond to conditions, it responds to consistency. The real question becomes, can you sustain the frequency of your desired reality even before the evidence appears? Can you remain coherent while your bank account still mirrors the old story? Can you embody alignment before the relationship, opportunity, or success arrives? Can you live as the signal rather than the seeker? If you can, the field moves, not gradually but instantly, not through effort but through energetic permission. Here's the truth. Tuning your frequency reshapes your identity, and identity is the universe's most potent transmitter. Neville Goddard explained that assuming the wish fulfilled isn't about imagining the outcome, it's inhabiting the version of you for whom the outcome is already natural. That version doesn't strive, beg, or hustle for permission. That version simply exists, and the field responds. This is where science and mysticism intersect, where vibration guides action, and where trying transforms into tuning. The next chapter will reveal the core mechanism of this transformation: resonance. You'll see why desires remain unfulfilled, not because the universe withholds, but because who you are doesn't yet match what you seek. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Let that settle, not as a spiritual saying, but as a vibrational law. Behind every unanswered request, every delayed manifestation, every almost timeline, there is a single recurring pattern: wanting without resonating, hoping without embodying, attempting to pull a frequency toward you while living in a completely different vibration. This is where so many seekers get stuck and remain stuck. It's not that people lack clarity or discipline, it's that they approach the quantum field as if it were a vending machine. Insert a wish, wait for delivery. But the field doesn't operate by transaction, it operates by resonance. And resonance doesn't respond to effort, it responds to identity. In quantum terms, everything is vibration. Every thought, emotion, object, and outcome carries a frequency, a wave pattern like a radio signal. You don't receive what you want, you receive what you're tuned into. If your dream reality is broadcasting on 98.5 FM, but you're vibrating at 88.1, no amount of desire changes the signal. This isn't a matter of worthiness, it's a matter of alignment. The law of resonance dictates that only harmonized frequencies amplify. Everything else passes unreceived. Trying to manifest from lack never works. Lack isn't the absence of having, it's the presence of dissonance. Imagine someone affirming, "I am abundant," while feeling anxious each time they pay a bill. Their actual frequency isn't abundance, it's fear. That fear carries a vibration, a magnetic field. Regardless of the words spoken, the field reads the baseline. I don't trust there will be enough. That is the identity being transmitted. Words alone do not manifest. Frequency does. And the most powerful frequency isn't in your mind, it's in your emotional body. It's the subtle vibrational signature generated by beliefs, assumptions, and unconscious self-concept. If deep down you believe, "I must earn my worth," "life is hard for me," or "I'm not ready," no amount of affirmation can override the baseline signal. In resonance, the dominant frequency always wins. Here's the paradox. The more you try to prove you're ready, the more you broadcast that you're not effort fueled by fear signals. Misalignment, not commitment. The universe doesn't need proof. It needs permission. Your full vibrational yes comes not from striving, but from becoming. This is why Neville Goddard's teachings are more than esoteric philosophy. When he says live from the end, he isn't asking you to pretend he is pointing to a vibrational shortcut. Inhabit the version of you who already has it. Feel, breathe, and act as that version, and you enter resonance with the timeline you desire. The field, which offers no resistance, responds neutrally. It collapses reality into alignment with your dominant state, not because you asked, but because you became a match. Resonance is a principle observed in physics, music, and electromagnetism. When two frequencies align, energy transfers efficiently, oscillating in harmony. Practically speaking, when your inner world aligns emotionally, somatically, and neurologically with the frequency of what you seek, the outer world shifts to meet you. You don't pull the outcome, you meet it in the middle. This requires a radical reframe. Desire isn't a signal to chase, it's a signal to tune. It doesn't point to what's missing. It reveals what's available if you become the vibrational version of the receiver. Resonance removes negotiation. You don't have to convince the universe or earn the outcome. You simply have to become the version of you for whom it's already true. Pause and reflect. What is the state of being, the frequency, of the version of you who already has what you seek? How do they move, speak, decide, spend time, and respond to setbacks? That is your real work, not to get the result, but to install the state. When your nervous system no longer flinches at receiving, when your body stops bracing for disappointment, when your energy no longer contradicts your desire, you have reached resonance. Resonance is the point of no return. Once achieved, the outer world mechanically adjusts. But here's the confronting truth. If your reality hasn't yet shifted, something within you is still out of tune. And that's not failure. Resonance is a mirror. It doesn't judge you, it reveals you. So here's the question only you can answer. What version of yourself does your current reality reflect? And if that version isn't the one you desire, pushing harder won't help. What's needed is a different transmission. You need to upgrade your state, not as a one-time ritual, but as a daily identity shift, a moment-by-moment return to coherence. That is how you become magnetic, not through effort, but through energetic clarity. In the next chapter, we'll cross the vibrational threshold, the tipping point where effort dissolves and flow begins. You'll discover what it feels like to stop striving, start receiving, and live as the version of yourself who no longer needs to manifest. Because you have become the living expression of the frequency itself. There is a moment, subtle but unmistakable, when something inside you clicks, not intellectually but vibrationally. Striving dissolves, the grip releases, the urgency quiets, and in that stillness, something ancient rises, a deeper frequency, long forgotten, but instantly familiar. That moment is the threshold, not a place of arrival, but a shift in how you exist. Once crossed, reality responds differently. This isn't about giving up. It's about giving over, surrendering not your power, but your resistance. Most people don't realize how much energy is spent holding up the old identity, the one who's almost there, who still needs to earn it, who still doesn't trust. That version is always seeking, always adjusting, always trying to get it right. But trying is the currency of timelines that delay flow begins when trying ends. Here's the paradox. Many think surrender is weakness. In the quantum field, it is a signal of energetic authority. It says, I am no longer entangled with the version of me who struggles. It's the vibrational announcement that you've crossed over from friction to frequency. Science supports this. Studies of brainwave states show that high effort correlates with elevated beta, the frequency of alertness, thinking, and often stress. This is where most people spend their days, analyzing, projecting, reacting. But as you begin to slow down and breathe deeper, your brain shifts into alpha, then theta states, frequencies of intuition, integration, and internal alignment. In these slower states, your heart and brain synchronize. Your electromagnetic field becomes coherent, and in coherence, you become magnetic. What once felt like a wall becomes a window. What once required effort begins to move through you instead of because of you. Flow is not the absence of action. It is action without resistance. It is creation without contradiction. It begins the moment you stop broadcasting the frequency of almost and start living as if it's already done. The threshold is subtle. It rarely arrives with fanfare. It often comes in the quiet space between thoughts, in the softness of your body, in the shift from what do I need to do to who do I need to be. When you cross that invisible line, something remarkable happens. The field delivers without delay. People call, paths open, ideas arrive, not through strain, but through synchronicity. And suddenly you realize you were never manifesting the outcome. You were manifesting the version of you who could hold it. This is the truth rarely told about the law of attraction. It's not about pulling things toward you. It's about dissolving the version of you who kept them out. True alignment comes when your emotions, thoughts, body, and energy all agree. When incoherence ends, the field doesn't delay, it reflects. Your job isn't to figure out how the miracle comes. Your job is to stop contradicting yourself, to become the version of you that naturally receives. Your only real task is to maintain the frequency where your desire is already fulfilled. And that requires far less force than you imagine, but far more honesty than you're used to offering yourself, not surface-level honesty. Radical, vibrational honesty. The kind that admits, there's still tension here, or a part of me is still attached to struggle. That honesty isn't a setback, it's a tuning fork. It reveals exactly where your signal is still distorted. And once you see the static, you have a choice. Return to effort or breathe into trust. Because flow isn't something you hunt for. Flow is something you let in. It emerges the moment you stop pushing against life and begin aligning with the field. That alignment requires releasing timelines that constrict you, outcomes that shrink you, and identities that no longer match the frequency you're stepping into. Sometimes that means disappointing the version of you who kept settling, so you can rise as the version who no longer entertains delay. And what does this look like in the real world? It's the moment you stop chasing clients and start speaking from the energy of someone already in demand. It's when you stop writing your way into love and begin responding as someone already deeply cherished. It's when you stop asking, is this working? Because you've embodied the truth that coherence always works. This is the vibrational threshold, the point where your inner signal becomes stronger than external circumstance. But this is the initiation every creator faces. It's not about intensity, it's about stability. Can you hold the frequency even when nothing outside validates it yet? Can you choose trust while your bank account still mirrors an old identity? Can you remain open when others still expect you to act like your former self? If you can, you've crossed the line, not from effort to passivity, but from friction to flow. And when flow takes over, manifestations accelerate. Not because you've cracked some secret formula, but because you've stepped out of the patterns that once delayed you. You stopped broadcasting mixed signals, and the field, always precise, always neutral, responded instantly. So take a breath right here. Let the tension slip from your shoulders. Let the need to control dissolve. Let the waiting identity fall away. Declare it to yourself and to the field. I choose alignment over effort. Let that be your new signal, your new resonance, your turning point. Because the next chapter takes us to the true source of your frequency, your identity. You'll discover how to recalibrate the self that's been running your life at the deepest level, and why every external shift you've been trying to force has always been waiting on a single internal decision. The decision to broadcast a new version of you into the field. Every reality you've lived, every timeline entered or missed, was never a reaction to what you wanted. It was always a reflection of who you believed yourself to be, not the persona you project, not the goals you write down, but the quiet, unquestioned identity your subconscious emits on repeat. That is the original signal, the one the quantum always mirrors, the one that pulls possibilities toward you or pushes them away. Identity isn't a label. It's a frequency pattern encoded in thought, stored in emotion, etched into the rhythms of your nervous system, broadcast through every choice you make. Neuroscience refers to this as a neural net, an intricate web of beliefs, memories, and emotional imprints that shapes what you expect, how you react, and what you unconsciously allow yourself to receive. If you never examine it, this internal map becomes a loop. You're not living a life, you're replaying one. This is why transformation often feels like resistance. You're not battling your environment. You're challenging the energetic architecture of who you've always assumed yourself to be. Let's ground this further. If you've spent years identifying as the person who always works hard but never quite breaks through, your entire system has tuned itself to almost. Your biology has memorized that frequency. Your decisions uphold it. Your expectations protect it. Even your dreams get filtered through it. So no matter how much you meditate or visualize, if your core identity is still intertwined with not yet, then that is the only timeline your field can stabilize. The quantum doesn't reflect aspiration. It reflects embodiment. This is why effort eventually feels like self-betrayal, because you're taking action from an identity that doesn't believe the outcome is natural. Every step feels uphill. Every affirmation feels hollow. Every visualization requires more force than trust. The friction isn't failure. It's a signal that the identity hasn't shifted. So the question becomes, how do you shift it? Not by forcing, not by pretending, but by recalibrating. Identity recalibration isn't about becoming someone new. It's about releasing the version of you that was sculpted by survival. The you who had to prove, who had to wait, who wore struggle as protection because it was familiar. That version served a purpose. It kept you safe, but it cannot escort you into your expanded reality. Because the version of you who receives effortlessly, who attracts with clarity, who lives in flow, operates at a completely different frequency, and that frequency becomes available the moment you stop rehearsing the old one. Here's where neuroscience supports the shift. When you imagine a future experience and genuinely feel the emotions associated with it, freedom, ease, abundance, your brain begins to reorganize itself. It stops firing based on memory and starts firing based on possibility. This is neuroplasticity. It means you can reconstruct your internal identity by installing new emotional signatures. But the key is repetition, not mechanical, but resonant. Each moment you return to the feeling of the version of you who already has it, and you stabilize in that feeling, even briefly, you weaken the old self. You dissolve its dominance. You loosen its gravitational pull. And as the new identity gains momentum, the old one fades, not through battle, but through lack of reinforcement. This is identity alchemy. And here is the pivotal shift. Once you truly inhabit a new identity, speak as it, move as it, rest as it, the field no longer hesitates because you're no longer thinking one thing, feeling another, and acting from a third. You've come into internal agreement. And when the inner world unifies, external timelines accelerate. This is why the real question is never, what do I need to do to manifest this? It's, who do I need to stop being? Because action without an aligned identity is like installing new software onto outdated hardware. It glitches, slows, crashes. You may see progress, but it won't hold. The old identity interrupts the signal. You label it resistance, but in truth, it's simply incompatibility. Now let's bring in the quantum. The observer effect teaches that attention collapses possibility into form. But attention isn't just where you look. It's the frequency you embody while looking. When your dominant frequency is tied to a past identity, your attention collapses into old timelines. This is why life often feels like a rerun. Different jobs, same insecurities. Different relationships, same wounds. Different strategies, same ceilings. You don't need new tactics. You need a new transmitter. That transmitter is your state of being, your felt sense of self, your emotional signature, your energetic posture. Once these shift, the field responds immediately, recognizing you not as the one who wants, but as the one who is. True change doesn't feel like effort. It feels like remembering you are not creating a new self. You are tuning into a version of yourself that already exists just beyond the noise of your current identity. The more you meet this version in stillness, in breath, in imagination, and in behavior, the stronger it becomes until it fully becomes you. Everything that doesn't match this version naturally falls away, effortlessly and coherently. This process can be practiced in 4 steps. Step 1, stop. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and on the exhale, release every version of yourself that was trying to get somewhere. Drop the almost, the not yet, and the how. Let your field go quiet. Inwardly say, I no longer chase, I now choose. Let that choice settle like gravity. Step 2, tune into the signal. Bring awareness to the version of yourself who no longer tries, the one for whom it's already happening. Feel them not as fantasy, but as a current frequency. Notice their posture, their breath, and the way they feel inside their body. Ask, what is the emotional baseline of this version of me? Maybe it's peace, trust, abundance, or freedom. Breathe into that feeling as if it were already your default state, letting it infuse your chest, spine, and face. Don't force it, just remember it. Step 3, merge timelines. With your next inhale, allow this version of you to step closer. Step into them fully. Let their nervous system become yours, their rhythm, your rhythm, their identity, your new signal. Feel the subtle but undeniable shift, like slipping into perfectly fitting clothing after years of constriction. This is not becoming someone else. It is returning to who you were before effort became your identity. Step 4, broadcast the field. From this place, say inwardly, I access my frequency. I allow my reality to match it. Mean it, not as a wish, but as a statement of alignment. You are not asking anymore. You are becoming. You are not signaling from lack. You are emanating from completion. Stay in this frequency as long as you choose. When you return, let your next breath, step, and word reflect this new internal broadcast.